Hello everyone, RegiTime here with another keeping simple poker sort of type video. Keeping poker simple even, fucking muppet. Yeah, these videos are aimed at people who are struggling mostly with post-flop, because I think most people who reach this channel now are going to have pre-flop pretty well down, but still struggle post-flop. This is going to be about just trying to keep things simple post-flop, try and play some good poker, but explain it in a way that doesn't like massively turn people off. I think a lot of the problem with current poker coaching, with Upswing aside, I think it's pretty good, is that it's very technical, very mass orientated, solvers, GTO, all that, and lots of guys don't have the time or the inclination to learn poker that way, so they're kind of turned off poker learning and just stumbling on their own. This is hopefully going to be more appealing to those guys, you know, the guys who are like kind of recreational players who want to be half decent. And yeah, so hopefully it's going to be some use to you. If you do feel that you want to improve your game but you can't really get into some of the more modern training methods, please do get in touch and take maybe 1 or 2 sessions with me. Lots of guys make significant improvement after just like 1 or 2 sessions with me. Not saying they turn into crushers, but they certainly improve, and I'm very good at changing the way people approach poker pretty quickly. So if you would like to try and give your game a cheap shot in the arm, please do get in touch. And we'll try and set up 1, 3 or 5 sessions with you to try and get you going in the right direction. So without further ado, we'll crack on. We're not going to be doing anything, we're not going to be reinventing fire with these videos. We're just going to be trying to play like pretty solid poker, and just try and point out some of the ways to avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe you're falling into, and yeah, just explain things in a way that will hopefully make sense to people who haven't worked with solvers, who haven't like studied GT or anything like that. Just like the guy that plays doesn't really study the game. Hopefully this is going to be the kind of content for you. Pretty close here. I think we're going to call easy 4 with the Queen 10 when we complete the brick. In the multi-way pot, we're not going to be defending R7 here if anybody bets. I mean, we might, there's a small chance we just win at showdown if it checks through, but I doubt it. Seems unlikely, but we live in hope. I'm not really used to the A7 and the Ace-10. Huge Hampton, he must have got my share. Bastard. Given it looks like we have a fish in the blind, I think we can just call the... I mean, in tougher games we can't really just call very much out of the small blind because we're going to get squeezed too often, but even Huge Hampton doesn't have a full stack. I think there's a good chance we're going to get to see a flop. So we just... defend our hand more passively. In tougher games we kind of have to adopt a 3-bet or fold strategy, but not necessarily. If you've got what you think is going to be a passive big blind, we can just maybe flat a few more hands. We're ahead of a stranger now. I'm going to raise here and just like happy to play for all of Huge Hampton and stack. Won't be too happy if stranger keeps on coming. I mean, we're probably going to be beat here, I would imagine, by this point. Oh wow, and stranger still comes along. We need some help, and that isn't it, I don't think. That isn't it. That is not the help we were looking for. And we just can't call here. We don't beat any of his like good jacks. We obviously lose to flushes. Maybe he's been like slow playing 3s or deuces from the off. It's just a fold at this point. Ace Queen flush and Queen Jack. So we were in rough shape there all round. And this guy's clearly a monster fish, just like min 3-betting from the button. Not a full stack. I mean, we normally never defend 6 high, of course, but we have literally no choice given his sizing. Folding the king queen off to the almost 10 big blind 3-bet. Trivial fold with the ace jack 2, and pretty trivial fold with the queen 10. As you'll see, I'm not massively into defending versus 3-bets with unsuited cards. Much more inclined to defend them with suited stuff. Not because it's suited and we have like the 5% extra equity, although that definitely helps. It's more to do with like the playability of the hand post flop. I mean, queen 10 offsuit and ace jack offsuit are going to do pretty badly out of position in 3-bet pots, or even in position in 3-bet pots with the queen 10. So just leave your ego to one side. You make your raise, which is a good raise, then you make your fold, which is a good fold, and you just get on with life. Suited. This player's a problem. Keith gives us a problem in this situation. 10-8 suited would be a pretty loose open to the gun anyway, in my opinion, but especially so when you have a guy behind you sat with a tournament stack. This guy makes me want to call. This guy makes me want to 3-bet. I'm certainly not folding the ace deuce suited. I think we'll just call, and possibility we could even call a squeeze. He's gone for them in 3-bet. Okie dokie, sir, you're getting that tag. Let's hope for some red. Nope, no red. Do have a good shot. We're not going to stab these players like they do them in 3-bet, and they love to like check raise with the over pairs and things, so we're not going to risk getting blown off our sliver of equity here. Let's have an X open. Interesting. Come on, flip rip. Piss or get off the pot, kid. Hopefully he jams, we just call. He doesn't, we get a pretty miserable flop, but I mean, we're just going to have to go with it now. We have an SPR of like 0.5 just about. Could still be ahead. If we're not, we hopefully have reasonable equity. King 7, we have very good equity. Yeah, I think less said about that the better from Shuki's point of view. Where are you from, Shuki? We don't get to find out. And I'm not arse enough to go into the replayer. Lots of short stackers kicking around today, but in the short stacking fish type variety rather than the short stacking good player variety. I mean, some of these guys won't be like complete fish, they'll just be like bad weak regulars, but tag them as fish anyway because they're super unlikely to give us too many problems. You have to be really wary of tagging Ukrainians as fish, but there's just so many of them these days that just seem like legitimate fish that I'm really comfortable doing it now. Could 3-bet here, or we could call. I think we're going to go with the 3-bet. Gonna suck if we get 4-bet, but 3-bet's the best play. We get called 4-bet, which makes life slightly easier because he probably is way less likely to have bluffs than this guy would if he. I think he's got no reason to just like 4-bet bluff, where sometimes people 4-bet out of frustration or what have you. And we fold and watch, see what's going on. Try and watch. The puck's the table gone. Ace king versus kings. So as expected, both guys turned up with super primo stuff, which you would expect in that situation. The called 4-bet and then the 5-bet jam. We're not going to see pocket 7s and queen jack suited there too often. What the fuck are these min 3-bets all about? I mean, we need to try and see a flop with our deuces. 4-betting makes no sense, folding makes no sense. Giving a givey. You're going to meet Mr. 3-bet, sir. Completely brick with the king 10 and we instantly get dunked into. There's nothing much to say about that other than deal me in the next hand, please. Here comes the 4-bet with the ace king. Fucking min 3-bets everywhere. What is going on? Oh, virtual min 3-bets. What is happening in the world? Vision nuts. You don't know how to size your bets very well, sir. Then he bets 2. We call. We take him as a fish because betting 2 there is absurd. He checks a river. I mean, we don't win very often at all here on this board, but I don't think we would get many folds if we bluff either. Games certainly seem pretty soft this morning. I'm going to stab here with the Queen 10 and only really continue on cards higher than the 9 if we get any action on the flop. I'm not going to barrel a 7. Pretty bad flop for our actual hand, but it's a decent flop for us to just see bet in general. It's Queen low low, pretty dry. There's like very few draws out there. Yeah, I think people overreact sometimes to draws to like these types of boards. I think there's a flush draw out there. It's a wet board, not a particularly wet board. It's pretty dry. We should be see betting these types of boards with pretty high frequency when we 3-bet. Ace jack off. He raises here, which doesn't make too much sense. I mean, there's not many draws he's going to have, which means he's way more likely to be like in a nuts or air situation. But since we only have king jack, willing to let it go. Ace jack versus a pot size open. Don't really want to call there. Versus a pot size bet with 3 players to go behind us. We're going to get squeezed a lot, and because it's a pot size open, the squeeze is going to be huge. That is an absurd sizing for a 3-bet in my opinion, 100 blinds deep. Sorry, a 4-bet, but we're just going to assume that he's very strong. Even though I said the games are soft this morning, and they do seem soft, we're not doing too well, but that's poker. I mean, we've only been playing for 17 minutes. We've probably only played like 100 or so hands at the most. It's just variance. It's 8 suited. I see 2 fish tags, so we'll open it. And check back with this like trip aces here. I mean, it's hard for him to have very much. I mean, if he does have an ace, we guess we lose some value, but we'll be able to hopefully make up for that on later streets. Just gives him a chance to maybe, if he's got like a jack 10 or a king queen, to improve to a pair on the turn or something. Maybe it induces him to sometimes bluff. He snap checks again. My guess is here that he's got absolutely fuck all. We're going to go for like a super tiny bet, just see if we can't induce something. No, it instantly folds. Yeah, it's just hard. When you block trips, you're like, oh, cool trips, let's make some money, but you know, you kind of need someone to have something that can come along with you, and it's going to be pretty hard when you've got the board so crushed. crested flop on table 2. I had taken to checking these back a decent amount, but I'm starting to lean towards, I think, betting them's better again. 3 doesn't really help us very much. I'm going to bet again just because we have so much equity, but I don't think we're going to fire the 3rd barrel if we get called again. Looks like we're just going to chop this pot up. That's what it looks like to me. Tempted to go for check raise on the river to try and get him off a straight if he bets it. Try and like represent the flush. I mean, yeah, I think that's going to be the best play. And now he does that, which makes things somewhat awkward now. Because now all of a sudden we're left calling for a chop. I was hoping he was going to bet like 15 or something and we could just jam with some forward equity. I mean, we have to call here, of course. Yeah, it's an obvious chop. I was hoping he bets like 12 or something and we get to jam him off that exact type of hand, but he bet too much for us to execute that plan. I'm going to go reasonably big on this turn. What the fuck? I mean, let's just hope he has 3 10s or 3 queens and not king jack here. Does have the king jack, but we fill up, which is pretty fucking sweet. That's just a cooler. No one's done anything wrong there. We get to suck out and win, which is lovely, of course. But when he jams, when he raises that turn, he literally has pocket queens, pocket 10s, king jack, and nothing else. But clearly, it's just like a super trivial call, and just fuck our lives if he does have the king jack and we don't get there. Check down the ace queen. I mean, if we are good, then we have the best hand. We're not likely to win anything from a value bet, and if we don't have the best hand, he's not that likely to fold on this board. Stab with the queen jack on the king low low. Again, it's a pretty good board for the pre-flop raiser. Once he calls, we're done. I'm not going to try and bluff him. I'm annoyed by that ace-8 hand. I've got all these mega plans and all of a sudden it's us that's in the weird spot. I used to get really annoyed with 3 bets. I still do to an extent. I think we all do, don't we? These days I'm just like, whatever. We've been ace-6 off. It's a fucking miserable hand. We have to open it, of course. But yeah, when someone 3-bets, there's no reason to be defending it whatsoever. You like this? I'm going to go for a call here and just check raise the flop. Play it like we flopped a set. Happy days. I mean, maybe he just gets queens in pre there, but I think if we 4-bet pre-flop, he can sometimes get away from queens. Our range is much more clearly defined. I mean, maybe that's just fancy play from me, but I don't think it is. I think it's having a plan. It's like, right, this guy might fold some hands to a 4-bet here. If he's like 3-betting 10s, jacks, ace, queen, that type of thing, ace, jack, he can fold all of them to a 4-bet. Well, you know, he's pretty likely to just c-bet most flops, and then we can just get the raise in and trap him when we do have him crushed with a hand that would have folded pre. It's a line I don't always take. I think it's a line I should take more often than I do. Yeah, I like it. It's worked out nicely. I think his play is pretty bad. They're just jamming. I think he should probably just call. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've put a pretty big raise and he's kind of committed, isn't he? Maybe, no, I don't think it is pretty bad. I think I'm being unfair there. Not defending here. If he was deeper, I think it'd be a lovely defend if we were 200 blinds deep, but we're not. And he's made it pretty big, so we'll just let the 9s go. I get we're getting blown off equity when he has ace, king, ace, queen, etc. But, you know, we'll just keep things simple. The guy's repping strength. There's going to be a lot of boards that come down. It comes down like 7 high and he fucking bomb c-bets into us, and then we're like, ah, fuck, now what? Just take the sting out of the game a little bit, and if someone's repping strength and we've got a marginal hand, I'm more than willing to release them quite quickly. Much more willing than most people, I think. And I think it does me no harm whatsoever. Versus like the mass, it might hurt versus some players, but versus the overall pool in general, I think my play there was completely fine. Pretty tempted to raise here. We have like a blocker to a flush. I hate being one of those guys that says I'm tempted to do something and then not do it. I've discussed it many times. I'm just not super sure here what we represent when we do raise. Check back flop, just call turn, or I guess we can rep some flushes, but yeah, I think we're going to go for it. Risking 36 here to win what's going to be a pot of what? 20. We need this to work a pretty decent amount of the time. Hopefully it will. I mean, the bigger we go, the more often it has to work, of course. But surely one would imagine that the bigger we go, the more often it will work, because people will be like much less prone to calling with their weaker holdings. Well, there we go, 30 minutes already. That has flown in. Hope you guys have got something from the video. Any questions about any hand I played that you feel I didn't explain too well or what have you, please do get in touch. Just leave a comment and I'll try to respond to you. If you do want me to give more feedback on a particular hand, if you could put a timestamp on it, or just like tell me what time it was in the video so I could skip to it and not have to watch it all the way through, that would be super. If you don't do that, it's less likely I'm going to respond because I don't obviously remember every hand I've played. Okay, so we'll leave it there. I'll be back with we're just going to continue the session and carry on recording. So yeah, look out for the next video in this series in a couple of days. Bye bye for now.